Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Roots of the Matter. Today, I want to talk about 3 different ways you can receive your plants, like from a nursery or something. So, there's 3 different kinds of containers they'll come in. I've worked at many nurseries around the country. I've seen a lot of different things, and nursery guys are great. They're salesmen. They're there to sell you their products and stuff. But there's a little bit of differences in each type of container. So I want to talk about these. So the first one's a container, like a plastic container. Sometimes they're wooden boxes. The plastic containers are cheap, very cheap, very easy. They transplant them. They go from smaller size to bigger size, and they can charge more according to the size of the container. So that's very important for them to make sure that they are getting the most of their money. Container grown trees have an issue where they grow out, the roots grow out, and they hit that container, and then they start swirling around that plastic because they can't go anywhere else. That causes some girdling roots. When you have a container grown plant, you pull it out of the plant, or you pull it out of the container, and then you cut off a lot of those roots on the outside, so that way the roots will start growing outwards again instead of continually circling around. So you have to be very careful with those containers. The wooden box containers are just large trees, shrubs. They're much larger. You don't get a wooden box container unless it's stinking huge. But the smaller containers go down to little tiny minis, 6 packs, kind of stuff, all the way up to 100-gallon plastic containers. And typically speaking, you'll see a lot of 20, 30-gallon trees and shrubs and stuff like that. That's about the size people like to see. 1-gallon little plants are nice, but those are smaller plants, maybe perennials, something. Anyways, the next thing you're going to see is balled and burlap. So let's just say you see a big tree out there and it's just got this brown sack around it. That's balled and burlap. There's some benefits that they don't have the same issues where a container does. A container, like I said, stops that root. A ball and burlap, you might see some roots kind of growing out of it and stuff, which is nice. They're a little bit easier to move around because the soil is all held by that burlap. Sometimes there'll be wiring around that burlap if it's big enough, so that way it really does contain it. A lot of your nursery guys will say, just cut the top off of the burlap and then let it grow out, and then the roots and things can grow out. The wire is there and it will allow them to grow out. I would highly, highly recommend getting rid of that wire after a long time. If you want your tree to live for 50, 60 years, that wire is going to suffocate it. Get rid of that stuff. Even if you just cut the top off, it's not enough. You've got to get rid of the whole wiring out of it, set the tree or shrub or something in there, because as the roots get large enough, the hole's usually this big. If it gets larger than that, well, it tries to grow out, but then the wire wraps around it and it just suffocates that root out. So I've seen a lot of issues with trees that are 10, 15 years old where they never took off the wire or the burlap. The burlap does decay over time, but it's like 10 years time. It is long. Everyone's like, oh, it'll decay in a long time. Yes, way faster than plastic. Yes, but it's I would take that burlap stuff off too. It's a nightmare to keep working with. The cheapest, and it's just the cheapest, I guess, is bare root stock. The problem with bare root stock is you can only get it in the springtime. But when you're wanting to plant a bunch of fruit trees or something, order those, plant them right away. Bare root stock's the cheapest, easiest. They'll ship them right to you real fast and stuff. Hopefully it's all refrigerated. It should be refrigerated when they send them to you. But you have to plant those things really fast. When you have a container, you could water it in there for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Some people don't even plant stuff for 3 months. They're like, I never got to it. But bare root stuff, you got to plant fast. When I receive bare root stuff at a nursery, we would water it 3 times a day because it's not getting anything and it's drying out really fast. You have to water it often. Just spray them down. Keep them in a cool, moist, damp area and spray them down until you can get those things planted, transplanted into a pot or something else. Way cheaper. But some of the residential homeowner people, I don't want to get to it right away. Some of the stock is smaller. You can't get a huge tree bare root. You can get some smaller trees. And smaller trees are actually pretty good because they will spring back and grow pretty well. When you get a larger tree, it takes them a little bit longer to establish. But those are the 3 main containers you're going to see at a nursery. And they all have their pros and cons. So keep those things in mind. But the real thing is planting them properly. And I have another video talking about how to plant trees and shrubs properly. But those containers, keep in mind of what's going on with them when you're buying them and what you can do with them. I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.